Hey YouTube, Dawson Ryder here with my review of Uchu Sentai Kyuranger episode 12. So this was another pretty decent episode. It's kind of weird to think about because in terms of like Kyuranger's local quality, it was decent, but it's pretty much average in terms of everything else. And I only bring that up just because when I was thinking about the review, I was thinking about how I was kind of impressed that after the 6 Ranger debut, or the 11 and 12 6 Rangers, they're seemingly being able to keep up at least a decent little chunk of episodes that have a cohesive continuity, which I brought up in multiple previous weeks. I'll try not to get too repetitive, but I've said that more recently in the past that the series has problems with that. Well, after the 6 Ranger, we drop off into filler that doesn't really matter. So I'm at least mildly impressed that we've had 2 episodes so far that tied together a little bit and have kept a new plot going and have been interesting and haven't just been stupid filler. And it also looks like next week's will be the same, at least somewhat, with the reappearance of Sasori's brother. Well, it's like it's technically a first appearance because it's all been in flashbacks, but you know what I mean. So, but it's weird to think about because, like, if I were to compare this to other, well, if I compared it to regular TV, it would just get destroyed. But compared it to, other tokus, it's pretty average. But so it's like, on one hand, it's not that impressive, but I'll take the victory, I guess. Because I hate to get in that mindset of, oh, it's better than this last one, so it must be good. Because that's not really a good mindset. But I guess my point is, with this random ramble at the beginning of the review is, I think it's a nice step in the right direction. And I'm nervous about it continuing, but I hope it can at least continue like this. It's not like the most, mind-blown experience of my week of watching it, but it's nice to have me, at least on some level, look forward to watching it a bit and have it be more cohesive. So if we can at least stay at this level during the periods between big plot developments or toy introductions, that would be nice. It would be great for it to get better than this, and if there's more Sentai series after this, continue to get better after that, but at least right now, I'm happy about that. Now that I'm going on about this, after next week's episode, it'll probably be an episode about, like, stealing Arbor Day or something stupid like that. But anyway, as for the episode, it mainly revolved around defeating this general guy whose name I forgot. It doesn't really matter because he's dead now, because they figured out his, like, precognition is not really like any sort of psychic predictability of moves. He just has a bunch of eyes. And then that tied into Lucky's unlucky story from last week, and that at the first moment they thought they needed 11 people because he had 10 eyes, but then he revealed he had a bunch of eyes. It's kind of funny because it was kind of creepy and unique way of describing like this villain's ability, but on the other hand, and it's kind of weird to talk about small stuff like this in terms of suspension of disbelief because, it's a fantasy show. But, like, just because you have eyes everywhere and can see the attacks coming doesn't mean you can dodge them. Someone could come at me right now and they could still hit me and they could be going slowly. Like, so I have a hard time believing that with them all attacking simultaneously, if he's seeing green coming at him from the front and then you got, like, yellow on the side, that he's able to dodge both of them. I guess his race is just super quick. But regardless, it was kind of a neat explanation behind it. But it mainly tied into the fact that they needed Lucky, and then he actually used kind of a clever trick of just continually using the Gemini Q-Tamba to multiply himself. I mean, it was nightmare fuel to see that many Luckies. But the main focus of him was, we got a little bit more about that backstory that we got a flash of last week from when he was little. Basically, he said he lost his parents as if they were at a grocery store. Maybe that grocery store is just the burning rubble. Maybe that's what it looks like on his planet. But basically, he literally lost them. He didn't just like, oh, they'll turn up. And so he got moved to the planet where they found him on. And he said that his life started out unlucky, and then he wanted to make himself lucky. Like, it's kind of one of those things that maybe I didn't quite interpret it right, but the way I basically interpreted it is that he started off unlucky, so he just decided to be lucky from there on out. Sort of, the way I interpreted it, again, between what he said and then what the commander said, sort of tied back to the episode a little while back. I think it was the Pegasus Armor episode. It basically said, a lot of it has to do with his positive thinking. Like, basically because he's thinking positively, positive things happen, which is just kind of a general sentiment that's out in the world. So that's the way I sort of took it. And everything about this little storyline or character storyline with the luck and him starting out unlucky and deciding to not be in the unlucky mindset and sort of basically think positive, honestly would be a semi-decent character story in terms of me buying into it, if Lucky wasn't such a cartoon. It's one of the things that frustrates me the most about Toku, especially in more recent years, is that there often will be ideas that will be decent to great that I like the core concept of, but they're so bogged down by their stupidness. And I'm not saying Toku's always going to be quirky, but it's like you gotta choose when to do it. And they could have had something, it wouldn't have been anything amazing that like for a character. I feel like I'm overselling it the way I'm talking about it, but it wouldn't have been anything like life-changing as a character, but it would have been a more decent character beat if his Lucky thing wasn't a cartoon gimmick. Like if it felt more like a legitimate lifestyle choice and not him just honking his horn in your face with a stupid catchphrase. And so it kind of takes any of the sentiment out of it when we resolve it and he immediately goes back to just saying he's lucky by doing things that, like I said last week, have nothing to do with luck. Like, that takes away from it too. Like, if you win a battle, or you caught something in midair, or dodged something, or narrowly made it, that's lucky. That's something you can say, that was lucky. Not just literally doing anything that has absolutely zero to do with being lucky or unlucky one way or the other. Something that you could just accomplish regardless. It takes away from it, and that really bothers me, and I really dislike Lucky, and I think they had an opportunity here to make a balance where you have someone that actually feels like a character. You could still have a bit of that quirk, but basically you're stealing away a good character beat by making him a cartoon, where he doesn't feel like a character, he just feels like a caricature. And another good example, it's kind of different in terms of the storyline, but if something like that happened recently was an episode of X-Aid with Nico and Taiga, and they had some actual really decent beats to their relationship, which was undercut by the stupid Genom Corporation CEO honking his loud, obnoxious Tokantsu horn in your face. And just, again, Toku always is going to be quirky, but there's a time and a place, and I feel like they've lost the ability to balance that. But that was kind of a long-winded way of saying, I think there was some decent stuff in Lucky's story, but unfortunately I didn't feel a huge connection to it because his character doesn't feel like a character. But aside from that, like I said at the beginning, I'm at least glad that it was something of somewhat substance. There were some decent fights. The other headline of this episode was, sorry, hit the table there. It was the debut of the combined mode between kyuren-oh and ryutei-oh, I think. I keep forgetting the name. Regardless. And that's kind of disappointing. Not necessarily like, there wasn't really any fanfare storyline behind it, but I mean the mode in general. It's just basically like kyuren-oh with like a hiker's backpack on it. Like, it bothers me because I've mentioned this in past, not only like reviews like this, but in toy reviews, that I missed like the giant clusters, because I like it for display purposes, and I also like to just see what they do. And like this one's not even like one of those early ones where you get like all the early stuff together, because they still have pink, silver, and gold left out. And so not only do you have stuff left out, but it's also kind of uninspired. Like, so I don't know, it was just kind of a thing. But yeah, overall, I feel like this episode was really long-winded, and more so, or this episode of talking about the episode was more me long-winded talking about core ideals or something, or concepts that I wanted to talk about. But like, the episode itself was just it was decent. I didn't really hate it, it wasn't amazing, but it was decent. I'd probably give it a 7. Like I said, next week we're going to be getting Sasori's brother, which I think should be interesting. I'm interested to see how that plays out, because something that kind of bothered me, / I found kind of weird, was when Champ thought it was Sasori that killed his mentor and was evil, but then Commander cleared it up and said he was a spy, but they never cleared up the thing about his mentor. Like, they never even questioned it. Like, I get next week's episode's gonna be when they clear it up, but it's odd that they wouldn't even question it. So I'll be interested to see how they tackle that. But like I said, still really cautious, but I hope they can at least keep this pacing up. It's nothing extraordinary, but at least keep this up and we'll be good. But anyway, that's about it. Until next time, make sure you have the Crazy Podcast at writersrandrambles.com, and of course, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Till next time, Dawson Ryder, signing out.